Hello and welcome for this competition today. We have women 1 meter preliminary and we have 21 women starting this competition, and we have Avalon Johnson from the United States. She's starting with forward, 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist, free position. Scores 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 6. Representing Camo, Canada. A good start for Lorianne. Gets 6.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 6, 7. Representing South Africa, Isabella Walker, and she's also doing inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Her inward dive was a little bit over. Representing Italy, we have Stella Ranieri, and she's doing forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist, free position. Six, 5.5, 6, 5.5, 5.5. Alright start as well for her. Representing South Africa, we have Olivia Coaster, and she is doing inward 1.5 somersaults with tuck. Unfortunately, she loses her feet in her entry. We want them to be together, but she landed with them separated. Representing South Africa, we have Sarah James, and she is doing forward 1.5 somersaults pike. Also not as good entry as she can do. Representing Switzerland, we have Lina Ramon, and she is doing inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Good start for Lina. Representing Camo, we have Rosaline Depati, and she is doing inward 1.5 somersault pike. Good high, good start, good nice takeoff. Just kicks out a little bit too late and it rolls over. Representing South Africa, we have Rachel Maber, and she's doing forward 2.5 somersaults pike. A bit short, but alright start as well for her. From Switzerland, we have Sophie first, and she's doing inward 1.5 somersault pike. So the women, they have 5 dives, so 1 dive from each dive group. So you have front, you have backwards, you have reverse, you have inward, and then you have twists. Later today we will have the 1 meter final, and it will be the top 8 from this preliminary round. Greta Signorella, she is doing back 1.5 somersaults, half twists. A good start for her. 6 from all of the judges. A bit too far away from the board, but otherwise it was a good start for her. From the Netherlands, Chloe van der Hoorn. She is doing forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Forward 2.5, rolls a little bit over, but she kicks out a little bit too late and tuck in her head in the end. Representing Södertälje, we have Ellen Andersson, and she is doing back 1.5 somersaults pike. And good, an okay start for Ellen. Representing France, we have Amélie Bayol, and she's also doing back 1.5 somersaults pike. A good takeoff. Kicks. And a nice strong entry. Representing Malmö, Hanna Ekdahl. She's doing back 1.5 somersaults pike. Good start for Hannah. Looks really confident on the board. Gets a nice start and a nice entry. A little bit over. Representing South Africa, we have Catherine Leschner, and she is doing inward 1.5 somersaults pike. She is rotating sideways in her board, and that's why she doesn't score as high as she does, because it looks like it's just twisting a little bit in the air. Representing Camo, Sandrine Hull, and she is doing inward 1.5 somersaults pike. A nice start for her too. Representing Norway, we have Lina Gulsmedmoen in Threadbare, and she's doing back 1/2 somersault tuck. During her takeoff, she takes help with her shoulders and lean back, and then she rotates a little bit too fast so that she doesn't know where to kick out, and then that's why it rolls over. From Italy, we have Ilaria Cambria, and she's doing back 1/2 somersault half twist. Good start for Ilaria. A bit too far away from the board, but a nice entry. Clara Kerr, she is doing inward 1/2 somersault pike. Nice start for her too. Representing Malmö, we have Anna Torstensson, and she is doing inward 1/2 somersault pike. It was a little bit short. Round 2, Avalon, she is doing inward 1/2 somersault pike. Good dive for Avalon. Lorraine, she is doing forward 2.5 somersaults pike. A good forward 2.5. Rose a little bit over. Isabel, she is doing reverse 1/2 somersaults pike. Sorry, Isabella. Stella, forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Kicks out a little bit too early. She doesn't finish the rotation. Olivia is doing forward 2.5 somersaults with tuck. Scores 2.5, free, 2.5. Forward 2.5 rolls over. Sarah, she is doing inward 1.5 somersaults with tuck. Her inward 1.5 was a bit short because she kicks out too early. Lina, she is doing forward 2.5 somersaults with tuck. Her hurdle isn't as bad as she thinks it is, even though she is having about 20 centimeters off the board to the end of the board, but she gets it really high, but she thinks she kicks out too late on her dive. Rosalind, we saw doing forward 2.5 somersaults pike. A nice hurdle. Just rolls a little bit over. Rachel, doing back 1.5 somersaults pike. When Rachel kicks out, she is still a little bit in a pike position, so she doesn't get straight when she's doing the dive down for her entry. Sophie is doing forward 2.5 somersaults with tuck. Okay, and a good dive for Sophie.
5.5, 6, 5.5, 6, 5.5.
Greta, she is doing back 1.5 somersaults pike. Splashy in the entry. Overall, an okay dive. Chloe, she is doing inward 1.5 somersaults pike. A bit too far away from the board, but an okay dive. Ellen, she is doing reverse 1.5 somersaults pike. reverse 1.5. Nice hurdle as well. Like that dive. A little bit splashy, but it's a good, nice dive for Ellen. Emily, doing the same dive. Reverse 1.5 somersault spike. A beautiful start. Nice rotation. Just kicking out a little bit too late. She is, her height is, her diving is higher than the other ones, so that's why she scores high points even if it rolls over. Anna is also doing reverse 1.5 bike. Good reverse 1.5 too, a little bit too far away from the board.
5.5, 5. Catherine, back 1.5 somersaults pike.
Catherine doing back 1.5 somersault spike. Sandry, going forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Nice hurdle on the side of the board. In her entry, she misses grabbing her hands. That's why it's splashy. Lina, she's doing reverse 1.5 somersaults with tuck. A little bit too far away from the board. That's a nice rotation. Spots the water and kicks out. Just to work a little bit harder for reaching the water and be good. Ilaria, she's doing forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Okay for her too.
5, 4.5, 6, 5, 5.5.
Clara is doing back 1.5 somersaults back. Beautiful dive for her.
6.5, 6, 5.5, 5.5, 6.
A bit too far away from the ball, but otherwise a really nice back 1.5. Anna, she is doing reverse 1.5 somersault pike. Unfortunately, she kicks out a little bit too early. I like her hurdle. And,
3.5, 3.5.
round 3, we have Avalon, and she's doing forward 2.5 somersaults pike. A nice job on her forward 2.5. Scores 5, 4.5, 4.5, 4.5, 5. Judges. Lorianne, she's doing back one half somersault spike. That's a nice back one and a half for Lorianne. 6.5, 7, 6.5, 7. 6.5. Isabel, luck. She is doing back one half somersault spike. Stella, same dive, back one half somersault spike. Okay, back at 1.5 for Stella. Was a bit short, overall a nice dive. Olivia, she is doing back one half somersaults with tuck. A nice entry for Olivia, a bit too far away from the board, but it was a good back one half somersault. And Sarah, she is doing back one half somersaults with tuck. Back 1.5, Sarah James. An okay dive for her, a little bit losing her feet in her entry. Oh, it was a nice one. Lineup, she is doing back 1.5 somersault spike. Nice back 1.5 for Lina. Rosalind, she is doing back 1.5 somersault spike. Rosalind is a really powerful diver. She is so strong, and she's diving high and doing a nice dive. Rachel is doing reverse 1.5 somersaults with tuck. Unfortunately, she kicks out too early, so it's short.
2, 3, 2.5, 1.5, 2.5.
Sophie is doing forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist, free position. a good forward twist. And it's 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 5 from the judges. And Greta, she is doing reverse 1.5 somersaults pike. Bit short. Chloe, back 1.5 somersaults pike. I like her takeoff. Kicks out a bit too late and reaches the water too early, so she doesn't stop the rotation, and that's why it's rolls over. Ellen, she is doing forward 1.5 somersaults, double twist, free position. Another good dive for her. A bit splashy in her entry, but it was a nice, decent dive for her. Emily, she is doing forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Tucking her head in the end, so it rolls over. But overall, it was a okay dive, a good dive. Hannah is doing the same dive, forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Just a little over rotating, but an alright dive for her too. Catherine is doing reverse 1.5 somersaults pike. Sandrine, back 1.5 somersaults pike. Dive for Sandrine. A bit over, but it was a nice back 1.5. Lena, she is doing forward 2.5 somersaults with tuck. A bit short. Ilaria, she is doing back 1.5 somersaults pike. too far away from the board and kicks out a bit too early, so it's short. Clara, she is doing reverse 1/2 somersault pike. A really nice reverse 1/2. A little twist in the end though. Anna, she is doing forward 2.5 somersaults pike. Struggling a little bit in her hurdle, but she managed to do a nice dive anyways. Round 4, Avalon is doing reverse 1/2 somersaults with tuck. I like that dive. Just kicks out a little bit too early, but I like that one. Lorianne is doing reverse 1/2 somersaults pike. Managed to do a good reverse, even though her hurdle step wasn't the greatest one. And now we have Isabella, and she is doing forward 2 somersaults pike. An okay double, forward double. A bit struggling a little bit with her hurdle too. Stella is doing reverse 1.5 somersaults pike. Nice strong takeoff. Really good. Just kicks out a bit too late, so it's over, but it was a nice dive. Olivia is doing reverse 2.5 somersaults tuck. A nice reverse double. Sarah, reverse 1.5 somersaults with tuck. Line up, doing reverse 1.5 somersaults pike. Okay, reverse 1.5. A nice hurdle. Just a little bit short, but a nice entry. Rosalind, she is doing a reverse 1.5 somersaults pike. Another nice reverse 1.5. 5, 5, 5. 5.5, 5. Rachel, she is doing inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Sophie is doing back 1.5 somersaults pike. Kicks out a bit too early and doesn't focus on her core enough, so that's why it's short. Greta doing inward 1.5 somersaults pike. And a nice inward 1.5 for her. Chloe doing back 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twist, free position. I liked her back twister. It was nice. It's a nice twister. Ellen, she is doing forward 2.5 somersaults pike. All right, forward 2.5. Gets a nice entry and a nice dive. A little bit too far away from the board, but overall it was a nice dive. Amelie, she is doing inward 1.5 somersaults pike. A nice inward 1.5. Hannah, she is doing back 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twist, free position. A nice back twister for Hannah. There's an order with 6, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6. And Catherine, she is doing forward 2.5 somersaults with tuck. nice forward 2.5. 5.5, 5.5, 5, 5.5, 5. Sandrine, she is doing reverse 1/2 somersaults with tuck. Nice reverse 1.5. Kicks out a little bit too late. Lina is doing forward 1/2 somersaults, 1 twist, free position. In the twist, she doesn't manage to keep her feet together, get them fast back together, and does a really an okay dive. Ilaria, she is doing reverse 1/2 somersaults, pike. Managed to do a really good dive, even though the hurdle wasn't perfect. Clara, she is doing forward 2.5 somersaults, pike. A good 2.5 somersaults. A bit too far away from the board, but a nice tight pike in the rotation. And Anna is finishing this round 4 with back 1.5 somersaults, pike. Too far away from the board. But nice dive, just a little bit over. And the final round of dive. Avalon Johnson, she is doing back 1/2 somersaults, pike. Laurie Ann Savard, she is doing forward 1/2 somersaults, 1 twist, free position. A good finish for Laurie Ann. Isabella Parker, she is doing back somersault with 1.5 twist. Nice finish for her too. Over rotates a little bit too much and That's why the judges didn't give her higher points. And Stella Ranieri, she is finishing her competition with inward 1.5 somersaults pike. A bit short, but okay finish for her. And Olivia Kartzer, she is doing back 1.5 somersaults, half twist. Sarah James is doing back 1.5 somersault, half twist. Okay finish for Sarah. Short. And Elena Raymond, she is doing forward 1.5 somersaults, 2 twists, free position. Beautiful finish for Lina. 6, 5.5, 6. Representing Camo, Rosaline Depati. She is doing reverse 1.5 somersault with 1.5 twist, free position. Finish for her too, a little bit splashy in the entry, but overall a really good dive. Rachel Maber, she is doing back 1.5 somersaults, half twist, free position. Start twisting on the board. I would like her to jump off the board first before twisting. And Sophie first, she is doing reverse 1.5 somersault, pike. Nice finish for Sophie. Greta Signorella, she is finishing her competition. Forward 2.5 somersaults, pike. Kicks out too late. Rolls over. Representing the Dolphin, Chloe van den Horn, and she is doing reverse one-half somersaults with tuck. A strong finish for her. And gets rewarded with 5s and 4.5 from the judges. Representing Södertälje, Sweden, Ellen Andersson. She is finishing her competition with inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Nice finish for Ellen. And representing France, we have Amélie Bayol, and she is doing back 1.5 somersaults with 1.5 twists. Free position. A strong finish for Amélie. Representing Malmö, Hanna Ekdahl. She is finishing her competition with inward 1.5 somersaults pike. Good finish for Hanna. Just a little bit short, but covers it with a nice entry. And Catherine Leschner, she is doing forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist, free position. A nice finish for her too. I like that. Forward 1.5, 1 twist. And Sandrine Hall, she is finishing her competition with back 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist, free position. Okay, twister. This is her hand in the entry, so it's a bit splashy. And Leah Goldsmith-Moen, she is finishing her competition with inward 1.5 somersaults with tuck. A nice inward 1.5. Now. Ilaria Kambari. She is doing inward 1.5 somersaults with pike. has a nice inward 1.5. Really like that one. And Clara Kerr, she is doing back 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist, free position. Good. Back twister. And last dive of this competition, we have Anna Torstensson representing Malmö, and she is doing forward 1.5 somersaults, 1 twist, free position. A bit over, but a nice finish for her too. And this wraps up this 1 meter prelims, women, 1 meter, and later in the final that will start at 1:55. In the final, we will see Clara Kerr from Scotland, Edinburgh. We will see Ellen Andersson from Sweden, Södertälje. Hanna Ekdahl from Sweden, Malmö, and Amélie Bayol from France. We will also see Rosaline Depaty from Camo, Canada, and Laurie-Anne Savard, Camo, Canada. Sandrine Hull from Camo, Canada, and then we have Lina Remen representing Switzerland. So thank you for following us, and we will be back with the women's 1 meter final at 1:55. Thank you so much.